Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet, and Prime Minister Modi announced the launch of PM Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana, which is expected to create 3.5 crore jobs in the next 2 years. He said that under this scheme, the youth getting first job in the private sector will get rupees 15,000 and the companies will get incentive amounts. With an outlay of rupees 99,446 crores, the PM Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana aims to incentivize the creation of more than 3.5 crore jobs over the next few years, or rather 2 years. Of these, 1.292 crore beneficiaries will be first-timers entering the workforce. The benefits of the scheme would be applicable to jobs created between August 1st, 2025 and July 31st, 2027. The scheme, which incentivizes employers to create new employment, will provide benefits for the generation of new jobs across various sectors. With special focus on the manufacturing sector, the scheme consists of two parts, with Part A focused on first-timers and Part B focused on employers. While it replaces the earlier employment-linked incentive scheme and is part of the government's plan to create more jobs across the country, the Prime Minister stressed that this initiative would transform India's demographic potential into real economic and social prosperity, strengthening the bridge from Swatantra Bharat to Samriddh Bharat and empowering the youth to actively contribute to the nation's progress and development. Well, meanwhile, viewers, listen in to what the Prime Minister had to say and then we debate.
आज से प्रधानमंत्री विकसित भारत रोजगार योजना आज ही 15 अगस्त को लागू हो रही है। ये आपके लिए बहुत खुशखबरी है। इस योजना के तहत निजी क्षेत्र में पहली नौकरी पाने वाले नौजवान को, बेटे बेटी को 15,000 रुपया सरकार की तरफ से दिए जाएंगे.
All right, joining us on the broadcast at this point in time to talk about this is Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, Mr. Alok Mehta, editorial director of India News, Professor Madan Mohan Goel, former Vice Chancellor, Kurukshetra University, also joins us on the show. Last but not the least, Dr. Shiv Khera, business management consultant, also joins us on the program. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Dr. Khera, I'll begin with you if you're there with us. Dr. Khera? Dr. Khera, if you're there with us? I hope you can hear me, sir. All right, let me in fact rope in Mr. Alok Mehta before we go to Dr. Khera on this. Mr. Mehta, well, obviously the Prime Minister means a lot of good by this announcement, but is there going to be a difference between, or a distance between the lip and the cup, considering the fact that for all of this manpower and workforce to be absorbed and simmered into the corporate sector, a large amount of skill set is also going to be important?
I think this scheme is connected with the new education policy which Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched in 2020. I think because when you have skilled people and then they will get job. So it is not necessary to just go in the university and then they got a job. So these kind of new opportunities for the large number of people in millions. I think in some extent it was already they were working on this scheme. In few places or maybe few states, they started some kind of pilot project. But now they have given the total budget of 1 lakh crore with 3.5 crores jobs. So I think these kind of incentive will encourage the people, young people, because the employment is really a problem all over the world. Especially in the developed country also people are facing issues. Here in India, the whole system was such that either you become a graduate, postgraduate, and then you go for a job and then you say in factory. So now there will be skilled people will also get job in the industries, in other work where they can do. Even what I feel that maybe it's not necessary. They should at least be skilled. That's why the skill development projects of since last 10 years, I think it's a great success all over India. So maybe earlier they were working in a small unit or some young entrepreneurs, but now the industries can also encourage to give the like a trainee or something internship, and then they could get 15,000 rupees is good money. You see, It's not necessary that they are working in Delhi or Mumbai. They are working in Faridabad, they are working in Chhattisgarh, they will work in Jharkhand or in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu. In the small towns or the other towns also, the industrial towns, they have infrastructure. They also provide, one can live in a lower salary also for the beginning. So this is a very good scheme. All over, you see in Germany or in other countries also, the skilled people, they get job. In Europe, what is the problem? In India, because after a long time, I think we started these kind of schemes, which is going to help the younger generation give the confidence. It will also help to the industries. Because the industries now we have challenges either in textile or in digital or in other chemical factories. A number of industries are coming in every state. They are competing. Multinationals are also coming. So in that case, the foreign investment is coming. So in such industries, they will also get some benefit from government, some incentive money to them, at least to give the job to young people. And they will also work as a trainee, and then they can full time. They can join after some time, like the Agniveer scheme. People were opposing it. Why? But you see, in that scheme also it was good. So same thing here. The young people will get job because ultimately when they need skilled people. Industries, they don't want a higher PhD people. Maybe for research work they need. But this kind of job, it will help the people who go. And I know the experience in the different states. I worked on it and seen some skill development projects. They have total 100% job they get. You go to Faridabad, Gurgaon, people will be very happy to give 15,000 is very good money. Otherwise, they will next year or after 6 months, maybe they will get 30,000 rupees because they need skilled people. So the whole system is such. What Prime Minister visualized that the young people don't go for a Macaulay school of education policy that you just become a clerk or the chaprasi. They need India, what we compete with China or other countries, we need such people who are skilled. And when they work in industries, maybe they will be hired by the other companies in India or outside India also. The Gulf countries or other, they also need skilled people. So this scheme is a long term, like a Viksit Bharat, what Prime Minister Narendra Modi always talk about it. Independence Day, this is a gift for those at same time for young entrepreneurship, the incentive, the other schemes, the Yojana, and for women also, the Lakpati Didi. So these kind of work everywhere. All generations, especially are the male, female, the old people also, if they want to do something, they can have their own work. So self-help group also encouraged by schemes. So I think this is a very, very, very ambitious scheme, and it will give confidence, and it will just implementation must be from the state government also. So I think there will be more coordination, and there should be the state government should also try to implement this scheme because the industries are there, or maybe central government, I don't know the details about it, but the industries will get some benefit from the state government also, or even some facilities. So ultimately, give more confidence and become a self-reliance, what Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is the target of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He delivered on the Independence Day his address.
Fair enough. Let me see what Dr. Khera has to say about this announcement. Dr. Khera, I hope you can hear me, sir.
Yeah.
Right, sir. Great to have you. And thank you for taking out the time and speaking with us. Were there benefits for the employer as well? You know, rupees 3,000 per employee per month if you're less than 50 in staff. If you're over 50, then of course you'll have to hire a minimum of 5 people. Incentive is going to be paid to these companies every 6 months. The question I want to ask you, sir, is how feasible is this, and does this really put a dent on the unemployment issue that the country has been facing for quite some time now?
See, the only thing I can say is that unemployment has become a massive, massive issue in India. Of course, it is global, but I'm not concerned about global. That is their problem. It is not my problem. I am addressing from my perspective, my Indian issue here, and it has become a big issue. Now, on one side, you can't find good people to work. The other side, there is massive unemployment. Hundreds of millions of people are unemployed. Even if you look at the current figure, which I just looked at before I got on your system, it's over 5%, which shows almost close to 150 million people are unemployed sitting there, but the youth unemployment are a massive number, and underemployment is another big issue that is coming in. Now, my only thing is, anywhere in the world, the only way you can create employment is by economic activity. Yes, it's a gesture, 15,000 rupees here, to find some incentive to the employer and employee and so on and so forth. Ultimately, the bottom line is that in all schools today, a 10th grader is not able to clear the papers of second grader. This is the level of those people. So खाली आप 10, 15, 5,000, 10,000 देने से आपका काम चलेगा नहीं साहब. और दूसरी बात यह है कि आप 10वीं क्लास का बच्चा जो है दूसरी ग्रेड, सेकंड, थर्ड ग्रेड के एग्जाम्स को क्लियर नहीं कर पा रहा है. ये आपके लेवल ऑफ स्किल्स हैं यहाँ पे. और दूसरी चीज ये है कि whenever you are looking for creating a mass employment, you have to give incentives. I'll give you an example and invite foreign investments. 2008, POSCO, the company, South Korea company, came to India to build the largest steel plant in the world, $12 billion. और 2017 या 18 को हाथ जोड़ के भाग के चले गए वापिस, बोले we cannot put up with this system, we cannot put up with this corrupt system. हम यहाँ पर नहीं काम कर सकते. यहाँ से बाहर लिटरली बाहर निकाल के चला दिया उनको. आप बताइए, जो $12 बिलियन लेके आ रहा है, you cannot accommodate those people. Is this the governance? What a shame it is. आपने कितने लोगों को बेरोजगार खड़ा करके रखा है यहाँ पर. और आप स्टैटिस्टिक्स देखिए कि how many NRIs are leaving every year in India. हिंदुस्तान टाइम में सर्वे निकला था, जिसके पास 25 करोड़ रुपया है, 60% of those people want to leave India and pack up and go. They are going to Dubai, New Zealand, everywhere. उठा पैसा लेके बाहर निकल रहे हैं. आपको दिख नहीं रहा, आंखें बंद है क्या? Don't they understand what are they doing? They are creating mass unemployment. And why are they leaving? They cannot put up with this corrupt system. They claim integrity, they claim honesty, they claim patriotism, deshbhakti. But this is the biggest disaster that they are creating for the country. देश के साथ गद्दारी है. अच्छा, then what else is creating unemployment? 10 करोड़ बांग्लादेशी रोहिंग्या यहाँ पे घुसाया हुआ है. 10 करोड़ बांग्लादेशी रोहिंग्या वो आपकी नौकरियां खा रहा है यहाँ पर, आपको बेरोजगार कर रहा है यहाँ पर. दिखता नहीं है क्या? 2,000 रुपए देके बॉर्डर क्रॉस कर देता है. यहाँ पर देशभक्ति की बात करते हैं. यहाँ पर they talk to provide employment, they can't see what is going on. You know something, ये जो speeches है ना 15 अगस्त 26 जनवरी की, they are all election speeches. 2 महीने 3 महीने के बाद बिहार में इलेक्शन आ रही है, 3 महीने के बाद और कहीं आ रही है. यही all they are doing is they are just creating more speeches to get more votes back and forth. और देखिए हमने क्या कर दिया, और देखिए हमने क्या कर दिया. This is only eyewash, धूल झोंकने वाली बात है. दुख की, मैं दुख से कह रहा हूं, मैं खुशी से नहीं कह रहा हूं.
ठीक है सर.
पेनफुल, बहुत तकलीफ होती है. आप देखिए पिछले 7 साल में एवरी ईयर नीट एग्जाम का पेपर लीक कर जाता है. 7 साल से एवरी ईयर. व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज गवर्नेंस. This is nonsense.
Fair enough, sir. I understand your emotions.
बेरोजगारी खुद खड़ी कर रहे हो, या आपने बेरोजगार किया हुआ है. और जानते हो 9 लाख जॉब्स खाली पड़ी हुई है सरकार के अंदर, जो इन्होंने फिल नहीं किया आज तक. 35% of the people in the judiciary are lying vacant for the last 10 years. What is the matter?
Fair enough, sir. I understand. I understand your frustration, sir, and I appreciate your emotions as well. Let's get a response from Gautam Mukherjee on what Dr. Khera has said. Gautam, how do you respond to these issues that the government can easily resolve? Of course, there is this issue of outsiders and immigrants snatching up Indian jobs, and the fact of the matter is, he also referred to the fact that the protectionist attitude within India is also sort of repelling jobs that Indians could get a hold of. Gautam?
Vineet, you can always look at the glass half full or half empty. I know it's a cliche, but amongst the various problems is an overburdened higher education system, certainly, where you have people graduating and post-graduating and doing PhDs, but those are really teaching and research oriented. If you want to go into industry or into commerce, you don't need much more than a school education. And as Alok said before me, you need to be skilled, you need to be trained. And most companies are quite happy, especially with an incentive of this kind, to take on youngsters, raw youngsters, 18, 19 years old, and train them for the purposes that they need. And if this is done, then a lot of people can be employed, and particularly with the government incentivizing it, this could make a big difference. As far as the economy in general goes, as you know, Vineet, 25 crore people, or is it 250 crore people, have been lifted out of absolute poverty in recent times. The benefits of 6.5% growth year on year for the last 10 years or more is evident all around us. Look at all the infrastructure that has developed. But there are bottlenecks. Education is certainly a bottleneck. There are specialist education, doctors and dentists and such like. There's a big shortage. General colleges also, there are shortage. Vocational institutes, there are shortages. But we can make a dent, and I think the Prime Minister meant well when he wants to make a dent with this 1 lakh crore, and I'm sure it will do some good, though the nature of the problem is vast, and many years have gone by under this government and on in previous governments when very little was done. And we do have a large population and more people being born every day. And it is not an easy thing. The other problem is labor-intensive manufacturing is going out of style. There's more and more technology, robotics, AI. Even people who are very gainfully employed today may not be employed for very long with AI and so forth gaining ground. So it is a complex issue, and I think it should be approached with understanding and compassion. And I think a lot of good can be done and will be done. Vineet.
All right, a lot of good will be done and can be done is the verdict that Gautam Mukherjee feels is what's best to describe this moment. Professor Madan Mohan Goel is also with us on the program. Professor Goel, your assessment of India's unemployment ecosystem and how this announcement by the Prime Minister is a step towards addressing it. Let's also keep in mind what Dr. Khera also said, that there are some easy fixes as well, which if the government tweaks its outlook towards, they can be controlled and moderated with.
Thank you, Vineet. I represent a needonomic school of thought. Talking of needonomics, economics of needs, and no to greed. And we believe that the Prime Minister Viksit Bharat Yojana is a bold and potentially transformative step in India's employment policy. Through the lens of needonomics, we can succeed by ensuring the job are need-based, sustainable and growth-oriented, benefiting not just individuals, but the broader economy. The partnership of government, industry and youth, guided by the prudence and purpose, can make this scheme cornerstone in the journey towards the self-reliant and Viksit Bharat by 2000. But there are many challenges in implementation. Let me honestly tell you, I have worked in Central University, State University, private universities, and let me tell you, private universities are spending a lot of money in creating infrastructure, but they create an army of underemployed teachers. And although they need qualified people, but they are paying very meager salary to them. I call it underemployment. Same is the story here. When we are talking in terms of 15,000 rupees to be given under private sector, here I would like to advocate that there should be proper implementation of public-private partnership model, because private sector is always interested in exploiting the manpower and they don't pay properly. All are basically underemployed in this sense. Therefore, to ensure proper wage distribution to these people has to be ensured, and that calls for ensuring quality over quantity, preventing employer misuse, strengthening skill development, and aligning with the national priority. So, to me personally, as a Nidonomic school of thought, I believe that in my beloved Bharat today, underemployment has become more important than unemployment. Therefore, by announcing this scheme, I am afraid that it may not lead to underemployment, and we must bother about giving proper wages and implementation by the private sector. As I have told you, in private universities, they don't pay proper salary to the staff. Therefore, taking into account the national education policy, which has an exit policy, after 1 year, a certificate course, after 2 years, a diploma course, after 3 years, a degree course, and after 4 years is a research degree. This amounts to many challenges. I believe that we have miserably failed in providing sufficient skills within 1 year, that after a 1 year certificate course, one is able to get employment. Therefore, schemes appears to be good. It is the implementation which calls for. Therefore, by taking into account all the challenges and the recommendations from the Nidonomic school of thought, it can be a very good scheme if implemented with care and conviction by the policy implementers. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Mehta, coming back to you again. Some criticism towards the employment scenario in our country as well. What more do you think can be expected from the government, for some of the easy solutions that have been discussed here?
I think the problem is, certainly, I have great respect for both our guests, Mr. Goyal and Shiv Kharaji. Shiv Kharaji is very old, known to me. That's why I think, and Gautam ji mentioned in some way positive manner, because different problems are there. We are not discussing corruption. Corruption is the issue. Implementation, Goyal ji very rightly said, implementation is the problem. And that's why I mentioned earlier too, that there should be state government or the local administration, they should also help. And for salary, with our regards, for a skilled workers, not necessary that they go for a graduation. What Gautam ji also mentioned. 15,000 rupees, you surprise the teachers, what he was talking. Digvijay Singh, when he was Chief Minister, he started this for teachers, 8,000 rupees. I asked him why. He said, no, government teacher doesn't work, that's why we are paying for 8,000 rupees. Imagine these kind of psyche was there. Then Mr. Chidambaram was the minister when the skill development council, this scheme started. Pranab Mukherjee brought this scheme earlier with 100 crores, and there was so much corruption. There was record, even Rajiv Pratap Rudy was minister, I said, please bring out these old files and take what kind of, because there was audit and some legal problem was also there, so I was aware of the whole details. So these kind of corruption in the Congress regime or any regime in Bihar, you see, nobody want to, he was talking to South Korea. In Bihar, in Lalu days, people used to ask them, okay, how much money you are investing? Give first this money to us, then you bring more money. These kind of corruption is a different problem. But this is key. You see, again, I will ask Dr. Shiv Kharaji, please study the skill development in Germany. How much they get? In 10th class people in England, they are also working without graduation. I know, I will give the numbers to you. You need these kind of European countries also, they need a different kind of job. Here in psychology of the British era, always everybody wants, okay, मुझे चपरासी बना दो चाहे, मुझे सरकारी नौकरी दे दो. The solution of this, 15,000 rupees, and the industry also get, and if you learn something, you work hard, then you will get. Everywhere in the journalists, they started in 10,000 rupees and they become a millionaire. So one can become, they get good job, they get international forum and international media also. Same thing here, anybody who work in the industry, you see earlier also, but maybe need improvement, or more the observation and then the monitoring. I agree totally with our guest that certainly we need announcement, but I disagree that this announcement is just because for Swachh Bharat ho, or health scheme ho, Ayushman Bharat ho, crores of people, how they got the house in the northeast to maybe 20%, 30% corruption is still there in the state because they siphon the money. I'm not disagreeing with this issue, but you see the implementation. Same in Red Fort, what he announced, implemented very well in some states. That's why I'm saying, I request Dr. Shiv Khera, go with me to Dantewada, the Bastar area. The lady, tribal lady, weight 15,000 rupees, illiterate lady. She is getting, and more than skill development, 100% job from skill. So these kind of schemes, ultimately, if you have industry, if you have work, even if you get some driving, then you can do something.
So we have a paucity of time. Let me quickly get a reaction from Dr. Khera as well, and then we're going to wrap up. Dr. Khera, would you like to respond to what Mr. Mehta said?
Known Mr. Mehta for a long time, and I have always considered him as a highly respected person, and I have great regards for him. And sir, you talked of Germany, all we're talking of that we need, and I think Mr. Mukherjee mentioned about the vocational education. Go check out in China, they have 500,000 vocational schools right there, and we, as compared to that, we have probably less than 10% of those. But, and of course, it is vocational education, not the PhD, that is going to do the job. But what we are talking of is ultimately, no matter what incentive you do, a business must come in. You are giving incentive to a business to hire more people. A business will only come why they came in here and they've taken the money and run away and they cannot work out with the compliances and the corruption with this place. Why are Indians leaving India? Sir, आपने तो लिखा हुआ है अपने in your articles that so many Indians are leaving India, छोड़ के जा रहे हैं हमारे यहाँ पे. क्यों जा रहे हैं? पैसे लेके जा रहे हैं वो. We have the only way to create a employment is by creating economic activity. And I understand Mr. Mukherjee did mention on that for the last 10 years we have 6-7%. We are growing at that rate, sir. I respect, and you are right, absolutely. What I'm saying is the per capita, if you look at it, and second thing is out of the 6.9%, 99% of that money is going to only 50-60 families, and rest only less than 1% is going to the whole country. We have to start looking at it from another perspective. These numbers we can twist any way we want. We can turn them the way we want it. But the bottom line really comes down to is unless we create a good environment for people in this country, people will get investment, they must bring investment, they must bring growth into this, not the GDP only part, but they must create a good environment, create all the infiltrators, get them out of this country. It is very, very possible, it is doable. At the same time, yes, the third thing you mentioned, with AI and robotics coming in, things are going to change, and that could hurt many folk in this country. So we need to clean up, get our people properly educated. You got the gentleman said they are being, teachers are being paid less salary. Forget the salary part. Even in the government schools, 10th graders are not able to read and write to the extent of 20 to second and third grader. What are we going to do? Sir, there are solutions. There are solutions, provided we have the political will to do the job right. And probably, in my opinion, that is what is missing. We can do all cliches, half right, half full, half empty. Yeah, we can do all those things, and I can share many more. But look, I think all of us are well intentioned.
Fair enough, sir.
Everybody who has said.
Fair enough, sir. Appreciate your emotions and appreciate the perspective everybody brought along. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, sir. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this conversation.